Part 109. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1084. When Daphne's voice came from the battleship, there was immediately a voice of doubt in the Asta battleship. Long time no see, Miss Daphne. I admire the people on Earth for their concern for the defense line, but what exactly is going on? Is this what Earth's so-called defense line looks like? This is the current captain of the Osto fleet, and he is also the person who served as the military and political minister after Empress Xiao took control of the Osto Empire. To put it bluntly, he is like a regent. Moreover, he is also the actual person in charge of this fleet, especially on the road of exile. If Xiao's sisters are unhappy, he can abandon them at any time. After all, the Asta Empire is gone, and he does not need to keep them to control Asta. Entrusted to the authority of the empire. Daphne obviously knew this. In fact, after she served as the ambassador of the Rulan Empire, she also visited the Asta Empire several times, especially to the city that was controlled by the Asta Empire after the Biochemical Empire retreated. When the Gray-Yellow Star returned to his hometown, he was still accompanied by this man in power. Sir Ruchuo, our Earth civilization level is not high enough. It is not easy to achieve this level. But don't worry, you will see a miracle next. A miracle that only belongs to our Earth civilization. When Daphne said these words lightly, in front of the 2,000 Asta Empire warships, the space was distorted like water ripples. Then the whole space seemed to burst out with countless stars. This group of starlights, like blood-devouring beasts, surrounded the entire Asta Empire fleet from all directions. Every light spot moved in an orderly manner. If you didn't know better, you would think that they were controlled by the same creature. Mechanical. But when everyone saw this star point carefully, everyone became uneasy. This is the greatest miracle of our Earth's defense line. It is also the Earth's fleet that our civilization relies on for the last time. Daphne's words echoed in the public broadcasting channel of the Asta Empire fleet, which was already in chaos. The expression in her words seemed to be extremely proud of the introduced fleet. That's right, she has no reason not to be proud. The appearance of this fleet not only shocked her when she saw it with her own eyes, but also the leaders of several great empires in the Earth fleet. The overall strength of the Earth fleet has been greatly improved by the tactics of Go Wei. Even this sudden attack, she can't imagine any fleet within the Orion arm being able to resist it. As for her words, almost no one in the entire Asta fleet listened, and the entire fleet was in chaos. This, where did this fleet come from? Intelligence team, what do you do for food? You don't even know if you are surrounded by enemies. The actual controller of the fleet was almost heartbroken. If it was directly surrounded by the enemy, Asta's last fleet, which was also his biggest reliance for survival, would be destroyed. He could not imagine the possibility of his own fleet turning back in this case. We don't know what's going on. There was no fleet around us just now. Even if they were invisible, there was no way we wouldn't run into them when we passed by. Now they are surrounding us without us noticing. It's almost like a ghost. The radar ship and the intelligence ship went crazy. They couldn't imagine how the other party appeared. The Asta fleet was extremely shocked. They were thinking, could it be that the Earth has united with enemies from the outside world, and what is surrounding them is an advanced stealth warship from the outside world? Haha, everyone in Asta, don't worry. This is the fleet battle method I trained. When the entire Asta fleet was in chaos, and several ships even lit up with cannon fire, a voice of brainwave power directly resounded in the minds of all personnel. This voice is extremely familiar. Even the most ignorant person seems to have heard this voice somewhere. Master Jia Yan's voice? It must be right. I have read his interviews more than 100 times, and it must be his voice. Oh my God, I was directly heard by Master Jia Yan. Jia Yan? Sir Jiayan, he finally appeared. What did he mean? Could it be that these battleships surrounding us are the battleships of the Earth? It's impossible. The Earth is so backward. Even if they have warships donated by the Great Empire, they can't operate them so well. Moreover, this sudden ability is not something that technology can achieve at all. The person who emits the power of brain waves is naturally Jiayan. Fortunately, Asta's fleet is extremely concentrated at this moment. Otherwise, with his current injury, it would not be that easy to spread his voice throughout the entire fleet. And if the brainwave power is not transmitted in time, the two sides may be in trouble. The gun went off. But at this moment, Jiayan was not afraid of the situation where the gun almost went off. Instead, he was smiling lightly. He flew out of the flagship he was on. As he flew out, all the warships surrounding the net seemed to have suddenly lost their souls. Some warships instantly turned their direction, while others moved accidentally. Although it didn't look like there was any major mistake, compared to the previous feeling of uniformity, it felt like it had dropped several levels in an instant. Sister, this is Lord Jiayan you are talking about. I seem to remember a little bit. I saw him once when I was a child. On the flagship of the Asta Empire, Xiaoxun met Jiayan via video, and pulled her sister to shout. Well, this is Mr. Jiayan. I haven't seen him for many years, but he is still as charming as ever. Xiao looked confused, as if she thought of something from that year, and then her face turned red. Jiayan came between the two armies. They were not here for the war, so they showed a friendly attitude at this time. The other party also quickly understood that Jiayan was using his actual state to directly let them see that the Earth fleet was currently relying on him the most. Haha, I knew you wouldn't attack your allies. It's really impressive. Master Jiayan, you have actually trained such a strong army. Naruto's voice sounded again, and then a small aircraft flew out of the flagship. I haven't seen you for many years, but Master Ruchuo is still so majestic. Master Jiayan, don't say that. I am already a lost dog. And it was only with your help back then that we were able to help the Empress ascend to power and support me, Asta, to be orthodox. Haha, forget about what happened back then. Now, as Miss Delphine said, I wonder if your fleet can join the training? We don't have much time. Of course, now I have a lot more trust in the strength of the Earth fleet. We will definitely be able to resist the enemy this time, haha. The Asta fleet just joined the training. It's just that they can't get the blessing of Jiayan's Pai Guo Wei tactics. In fact, Pai Guo Wei tactics have extremely high mental requirements on the user, otherwise karma wouldn't be so strenuous to use them. Although Jiayan is now much stronger than Kama in terms of mental strength, there are still not many battleships he can control. 4,000 Earth battleships is already the limit. After all, this is not his true form. Not long after the arrival of the Asta fleet, Earth civilization welcomed another new guest. This time it was a medium-sized civilization not far away, with 1,000 battleships joining. What Jiayan and others did not expect was that what came next was the eternal kingdom of the Earth. The number of warships they came with was 300. After all, the distance was too far. Even if the whole country of Yangji fled for their lives when the war broke out, the slow ships accounted for the majority. The 300 ships that came here were still selling iron from the big guns. A second-hand ship bought by the Empire. We, the Eternal Kingdom, have said that we are the eternal subjects of the Earth civilization, and we will not go back on our words. We will go all out in this defensive battle. This is the commander of the fleet of the Eternal Kingdom, who was also the self-proclaimed regent at that time. Man, what he said to Jiayan and other high-level people on Earth. In short, each civilization came quickly. After another 5 days, the total number of ships from civilizations large and small came to participate in the battle reached more than 7,600. In addition to the more than 1,000 new warships owned by the Earthlings themselves, plus the more than 1,000 new warships that were rushed to be built later, the total number of Earth Defense Line warships has exceeded the 11,000 mark. Thousands of ships came out together. This scale can be said to block out the sky and the sun. All lined up for training, the entire starry sky was occupied. This scene makes the ordinary people on Earth who see live broadcasts of TV media every day feel excited. I wonder if people on Earth who have experienced the crisis of metal monsters and the crisis of alien battleships can even imagine this scene. Pass. Except for any of the Earth's self-made warships among these 10,000 warships, they could easily defeat the semi-combat aircraft carriers of the Asta Empire that attacked that year, let alone all 10,000 warships. Our civilization on Earth will definitely be able to defend the enemy. That's right, not only are we protected by Master Jia Yan, but we also have such a powerful fleet, we will definitely not be defeated. What a pity. If only the giant Mosquito clan who were friendly to us Earthlings back then were here, they would definitely be able to help. You are stupid. What era are you talking about, the giant Mosquito clan? If you think about the comparison of strength, you will know that the giant Mosquito clan back then was nothing. That's right, the giant Mosquito clan is nothing. Back then, a semi-combat aircraft carrier would have been a life and death battle. If they were here, they would just be the soldiers in the battleship civilization. Haha, as a heaven-level person, let me tell you. I have watched the battle videos of the giant Mosquito clan many times, and finally confirmed that I can fight most of the giant Mosquito clan that were called gods. Well, especially the first ones that appeared, I can crush them to death with one hand, and the giant Mosquito clan is nothing compared to the current Lord Jia Yan. In the Earth network, the enthusiasm did not end people's gossip. On the contrary, at this time, the gossip became even more vigorous. In particular, some people associate the current scene with the similar large-scale construction scene carried out by the giant Mosquito clan on the Earth, and then compare the giant Mosquito clan with the current Lord Jia Yan. R.W. No pop-up novel website. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1085. The feelings of the people on Earth towards the giant Mosquito clan still exist, but they are all of the older generation. Young people, especially teenagers, simply cannot remember or have not seen the scene back then, so why do they feel so bad about it? The giant Mosquito clan is completely indifferent. In the eyes of young people, there is only one hero and one true savior for all people on Earth, and that is Mr. Jia Yan from the Jia family. And the giant Mosquito clan? Who knows which alien planet came from that year and came to Earth to act as a savior? And now that people on Earth have knowledge, they know that the giant Mosquito clan back then was not strong at all. In the eyes of young people on Earth today, almost not much different from a liar. To the giant Mosquito clan, no matter what kind of mosquitoes they come, no matter how powerful they are still no match for our Lord Jia Yan with one strike. My parents are really weird. I said a few bad words about the giant Mosquito clan and they got angry. I dare not speak loudly today. The older generation is really weird. That's right, it's just a foreign race. It's a remote race hiding in no corner of the Orion Arm. Why do we Earthlings worship this race so much? By the way, I was sucked blood by a mosquito yesterday. It was so itchy. Next time I see some giant mosquitoes, I will definitely scold them to death. As a result, the mosquito eradication work has not been carried out on the Earth. Mosquitoes are everywhere. The younger generation really has no interest in the giant Mosquito clan. After all, it is basically impossible for a foreign race to find a sense of presence among the new generations of the Earth. In addition, the later Earthlings have an ambiguous attitude towards the giant Mosquito clan. According to the textbook, he didn't learn anything, which made young people basically have no good impression of the giant Mosquito family. Not only does the giant Mosquito clan seem to be causing another topic on the internet, but in the Earth fleet, some members have also begun to reminisce about the giant Mosquito clan. Did you see that those guys from Mars are now very different from us? They came to the Earth with the giant Mosquito clan before. Now that the giant Mosquito clan is gone, the bridge of communication is gone. They actually want to separate from us Earthlings. Cure, alas. I can't say that they are ungrateful. After all, when they came to Earth, they helped us a lot, especially in the great construction of Earth. They also participated in a lot. Now that they have joined the big family of Earth members, we cannot completely exclude them. Treat it as a foreign race. That's right, in short, they have shown their old skills in this battle, and we Earthlings must also work hard. Above the starry sky, a group of battleships were flying rapidly. Then this small fleet suddenly entered the subspace that could not be seen by the naked eye. Not long after, it appeared again tens of thousands of kilometers away in the starry sky. Very good, now your team returns to the starting point to rest, and another team will come over. On the flagship, Jia Yan's voice came out. Now following Jia Yan is a small fleet of 50. Jia Yan is training the entire Earthling fleet on a single arm to defeat Wei. After all, there are too many ships that need to be controlled during group battles. If it is a special battle situation, Jia Yan will need to deploy small fleets separately. In this case, not only will his maneuverability be stronger, but he will also be able to control it better. This situation is best reflected when Jia Yan uses Pai Guo Wei's tactics to control 50 warships. His space talent can help 50 warships speed up and maneuver super fast, so that this formation can be achieved. When they were first arranged, their combat effectiveness reached a level that even surprised Jia Yan himself. Very good. In this case, our battleships as a whole have cooperated with you once. Although it is not enough, it is more than enough to surprise the outside fleets. In the flagship, the Noodle Man became Jia Yan's deputy. After watching Jia Yan's cooperation with a group of fleet squadrons, he was almost moved with emotion. With this tactic in hand, the overall strength of the Earth fleet is greatly improved. When fighting together in a group, Jia Yan can operate collectively, and also has the desperate characteristic of entering subspace. After separation, they were able to show even more terrifying maneuvers and combat qualities in small groups. Earthlings have no combat experience, but Jia Yan is experienced in both fleet group battles and individual ship battles. What's more, he is a strong man. Intuitively, not to mention the sub-level, even the ordinary half-star level is not as powerful as him. This bonus is applied to the control of battleships. Almost every ship will have his combat experience. Then it's just terrible. Sir. Just when Jia Yan wanted to continue training before the enemy arrived, the communicator suddenly transmitted an emergency communication from the outer solar system. What's wrong? Jia Yan was startled. Although he was already prepared, he still connected the communication with a slight pause. Enemies from outside are coming. A voice of fear came from the other end of the communication. Okay, don't worry, don't come into contact with the enemy, just go back towards the Earth. Jia Yan hung up the call and took a deep breath. In the outer starry sky, a huge fleet has been waiting near the orbit of Mars. There are already huge cities on Mars, which are considered the core interests of the Earth Alliance, so the real line of defense for the Earth people lies here. Here, tens of thousands of warships from various civilizations have been assembled, plus logistical supplies that the people on Earth have worked overtime to bring out. Cargo spaceships coming and going are shuttled among the huge warships. On this day, an order came from the highest level of the fleet, that is, the recommended first commander of the entire battlefront, Jia Yan, which put the entire defense line into the most tense first-level alert. The powerful enemy of the biochemical starfield is coming. The entire front fell into a tense and exciting moment. You must know that the people on Earth gave the other fleets on the battle line the feeling that they were really powerful. After all, with Jia Yan's tactics of surpassing Wei, they saw with their own eyes that this fleet, which was supposed to be weak, actually showed their fundamental strength in front of them. With irresistible tactical qualities, they also had a glimmer of hope for the outcome of the war. Of course, the real high-level alien civilizations are still prepared. They will not appear on the front line, but will hide in the rear. If things get bad at any time, they will run away. And on the Earth's defense line, as preparations for the final battle continued in full swing, a fleet of 1,000 battleships slowly sailed into the Kuiper belt of the solar system. I thought that the Earth civilization, with such a big name, would definitely defend the edge of the home galaxy, but I didn't expect that a few garbage cannons fired when they came in, and they couldn't even break through our defenses. It's simply ridiculous. Who says it's not? To put it bluntly, this Earth civilization only has one Jia Yan. According to the prisoners, the Earth civilization has just become a primary civilization, and most of the reason is that Jia Yan was able to become famous and obtain supplies. Otherwise, now they are like natives who can't even fly out of their home galaxy. I think this kind of civilization can be destroyed by just sending 2 small squadrons. Don't be careless. Although Jia Yan is injured, his strength cannot be underestimated. Our entire fleet came here just to kill Jia Yan in one fell swoop and lose the so-called strongest man of Orion Arm. Orion Arm resisted the heart will also weaken a lot. In this invasion fleet, the flagship is discussing the war against Earth civilization. It is said to be an analysis, but all the external forces and creatures sitting here have a disdain for the Earth civilization. Not to mention that there is prisoner information that the Earth civilization is only a primary civilization. Even if the Earth civilization reaches the level of the ordinary Orion Arm civilization, it is not considered what's going on. This fleet destroyed several civilizations along the way, and even the losses were not large. Their self-confidence has long been inflated. It seems that everyone doesn't like this Earth civilization, and I don't like it either. But let me tell you an interesting thing about this Earth civilization. It seems that a few decades ago in the Earth civilization, there was a legend about a savior. A race called the Giant Mosquito clan. Before Jia Yan appeared, they had saved the Earth many times, and even helped the Earth's people to resist to the attack of civilization, go to Shiyuan. I think this story is quite interesting. Where did you hear this story? But a low-level civilization is a low-level civilization, and there are still such primitive legends happening. So, does this Giant Mosquito clan really exist? I'm quite curious. I don't know about this, but I don't think this race is that powerful. The strongest one in the Earth's legends is probably the Starry Sky level. It's far behind Jia Yan. Even if it really exists, it's only one shot of artillery fire. Just a question. I have cracked the civilian network system of Earth language. Let me translate it. What you said is true. Some people on Earth are actually expecting on the internet that this giant mosquito family will appear to help them. The primitive race is primitive race, so funny. Let me take a look, there are really a lot of similar arguments. Looking forward to a savior is a thinking that only indigenous civilizations can have. It's funny. A group of civilized creatures from the outer star field, while discussing funny things about the Earth, entered the orbit of Pluto with a relaxed attitude, like traveling. According to their normal playing speed, the people on Earth still have up to a week to prepare for war. The war is about to break out. Under this situation, Jia Yan was in the command ship, almost anxiously cutting off his clone spirit. Come to the real place. Alas, we have barely reached the edge of the Orion Arm. And in order to slow down next, the superfast ship has to exit deep space. This speed cannot be as fast as before. The fastest way to reach the solar system is 2 to 1. Weak. Different from the self-confidence of many Earthlings on the Earth front, Jia Yan deeply understands the terror of alien civilization, and among the invading enemies, there seems to be a half-star existence. With such an opponent, Jia Yan himself has no confidence in the Earth. The fleet was not sure at all. RW. No pop-up novel website. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1086. With the current strength of the Earth fleet, coupled with his tactics of surpassing way, it is still possible to win one or two small-scale local battles with an explosion of combat power, but if you want to truly win a complete victory, you have to look at the real body. Hurry, hurry. Why can't this super-fast ship go faster? Being in the super-fast ship, Jia Yan was almost extremely depressed. He had already arrived so quickly. If he missed the battle in the solar system by just a little bit and waited until the Earth was destroyed, he would be extremely depressed. The giant mosquito body wearing battle armor kept moving anxiously in the narrow space. If you really can't make it, your family must arrange an escape. Even if your parents don't want to, let them go. No matter what, even if the Earth is destroyed, your family must be safe. This is my final bottom line. In the space, the superfast ship exited the deep subspace, and it seemed that a glimpse of the outside world could be seen around it. In the outside world, there are wars one after another. The forces of the biochemical empire are almost devastating, destroying every civilization within the Orion Arm. Even the great empire can only be said to have suffered a slightly better defeat, but its territory is still being swallowed up bit by bit. You must know that what the great empire faces is not the entire main force of the opponent, but only a part of the main fleet. It can be seen that the strength gap between the two sides is too big. Jia Yan in the superfast ship was like watching a fast-forward movie, looking at the scenes of war outside the subspace, with a faint glow in his expression. Just wait. I won't take action now. When my hands are free, neither of you can even think of escaping. With a super-fast ship in hand, the Orion Arm is hundreds of light years away for him, and he can almost switch to war very quickly. When the time comes, he will let those arrogant and biochemical empire creatures who think that the Orion Arm has no real strong people see the Orion Arm. The terror of the true strongest within. But if the Earth side can't catch up this time, no matter how many enemy creatures are killed next, it will be of no avail. Hurry up. The Earth's defense line has become famous among civilizations close to Earth civilization. Even some creatures who don't like Earth civilization that much are full of expectations for Earth civilization. What they are mainly looking forward to is Jia Yan, the strongest person in the Earth civilization and the strongest person in the Orion Arm. Of course, the civilized fleets who came to rescue also came because of this, because even now, many civilized leaders still don't understand Jia Yan's injuries, thinking that after so long, Jia Yan should have recovered long ago. That's right. But in fact, due to the physical problem of the clone, Jia Yan's clone's injury did not improve much at all. Sir, the enemy has crossed the Jupiter area. They seem to know that our defense line is here. They did not take a long way, but came directly to Mars. One day, the Earth fleet received an unexpected intelligence communication. This is not surprising at all. The Earth's network system is almost transparent to the forces of the biochemical empire. They can get any information they want to know by hacking into the network. Fortunately, Jia Yan had already changed the fleet's network to the official network of the Great Empire, and carried out secret operations every day, so the other party should not know the progress of the Earth fleet. Even if they had this ability, they probably wouldn't have any interest in using this method against the Earth's defense line. Okay, since the enemy actively asks for a fight, we will fight him. In the sky above Mars, thousands of huge battleships were almost ready to go, all they needed was Jia Yan's order. Let's take action. Finally, Jia Yan gave the order. The war cannot be started directly outside Mars. Although it can be supplemented by defensive artillery fire on the surface of Mars, the people in the city will be in dire straits. Jia Yan would not do this until the last moment. Lord Jia Yan, can we really defeat the enemy? Beside Jia Yan, Dai Funi has finished her mission as a diplomat and is waiting as Jia Yan's secretary. Further away is the Satsumanich. Although she and Dai Funi didn't deal with each other, nothing unpleasant happened during this period. I've said it before, it's completely impossible to defeat. Jia Yan smiled bitterly and shook his head. The question now is how long it can be blocked. As long as it is blocked for a period of time, all problems will not be a problem. Huh? Could it be that the reinforcements that Your Excellency once mentioned really exist? Daphne was stunned. Haha, it exists. Why doesn't it exist? As long as it can be blocked for 2 weeks, no, it's 10 days now. Jia Yan's words made Dai Funi slightly shocked. Then she seemed to have thought of something, opened her mouth, and vaguely guessed the true identity of the reinforcement. Then she looked back at Satsuma Kono, whose demeanor seemed to change suddenly at this moment. The two women knew before that the Jia Yan in front of them was not the real Jia Yan, but a clone, or something else. Although they didn't know the principle, they understood that the real Jia Yan was still the terrifying giant Mosquito. But now that Jia Yan has been talking about reinforcements, they immediately guessed the true identity of the reinforcements. Sir, the reinforcements you are talking about, are they? Haha, just take a guess, don't say it now. Jia Yan smiled and shook his head. Dai Funi and Satsuma were both shocked at this moment. You must know that after they opened the diplomatic channels of the entire Orion arm because of the Earth, they secretly investigated where the real Jia Yan had gone, but no matter how they investigated, no information was obtained. They came to the conclusion that the real Jia Yan left the Orion arm and went to the outer star field. Although this was too legendary and legendary to the extent that they could not believe it, it could also explain why Jia Yan, this clone, knows so much about the outside world, and its abilities far exceed those of the creature in Orion's arms. So how strong will that Jia Yan himself be now after leaving the outer star field and even condensing a clone known as the strongest person in the Orion arm? Can his arrival solve the current crisis on Earth? The two women were not sure. After all, they could not imagine that there was any strong person who could face 1,000 external warships alone. Of course, this does not hinder their expectations. The more calmly Jia Yan speaks, the more terrifying his true form is. We will definitely hold on for 10 days, sir. Don't let me be too disappointed with your reinforcements. Then Dai Funi's eyes lit up, and then she smiled and pointedly said to Jia Yan. Satsumakan behind him also nodded. No one said anything, everything was kept secret. The Earth fleet, together with several foreign fleets, formed the final Earth defense line, slowly moving towards the direction of the enemy, approaching bit by bit. The tense atmosphere before the war quickly filled the air. My lords, according to my analysis, the opponent's tactical choices have always been simple. First, defeat the enemy with one strike, concentrate their forces, and defeat the opponent's primary defense fleet or fortifications with one strike. This is their favorite tactic. Of course, this can be interpreted as the other party's confidence in themselves, once and for all. Their second tactic was only used in the late stages of Kaowo's defense line, and when they faced tough opponents like the Great Empire. That was to annex them one by one. If they couldn't eliminate the main enemy with one blow, they would send out a small fleet. Eat up the star defense points around the enemy, even go around the enemy's rear, destroy the enemy's lair, and then surround the enemy army that lacks supplies, so that the hard bones will turn into soft bones, and they will eventually be eaten by them. Thousands of huge warships are slowly sailing across the stars. A defense line of this scale cannot even compare to the original border defense line of the Asta Empire, but of course it is not much worse. In the center of these 10,000 warships, there was a flagship designated as the General Command Post, and a group of high-level civilized commanders gathered together to discuss strategies against the enemy. Then let's talk about how to fight against these two tactics of theirs. The major civilized command levels present are not simple figures. Even if they are not strong enough, their actual combat experience is not inferior to Jia Yan at all. With their professional background, they have a higher perspective on war than Jia Yan. After collective efforts, an answer was immediately proposed. The first way is to look at the ability of our defense line to withstand pressure. The opponent uses technological weapons that surpass us in one go, and the artillery system kills us in one go. We can use Lord Jia Yan's overcoming way tactics to deal with it, and the rear all the major civilized warships, providing long-range artillery support, should have a certain chance of resisting. But there are two most important points here. The first point is whether Lord Jia Yan can use the tactic of surpassing way to attract the enemy's main firepower head-on. The second point is the opponent's strong men. The last time our Asta Empire fought against them, the opponent sent out sub-level strong men. Now, no one in our defense line has the strength to deal with them head-on. That's it. Even Master Jia Yan was injured and unable to fight against him. So the strong man is a variable here. This is the opinion put forward by a senior executive of Asta's exile fleet. But as soon as he finished speaking, Jia Yan shook his head and added his own words. You are wrong. There is more than one sub-level in the enemy fleet. There is also a half-star in their fleet. By the way, you still don't know what the strength level of the outside half-star is? I will briefly describe it for you. For a moment, if the strength of the sub-level is about the same as before I was injured, then that half-star existence is at least 5 times my strength. Of course, there are even stronger half-stars, but they are not in that fleet. When Jia Yan finished speaking, there was a burst of gasps in the entire command cabin. Half-star level from the outside world? It's one level higher than the secondary level. What kind of strength should this be? It is said that the outside world has a half-star level and has the power to control the world. This is beyond the imagination of us Orion arm creatures. If he takes action, can we still win? It's over. Master Jia Yan should have known about his existence a long time ago. Why didn't you tell him earlier? If he had told us earlier, we would have been civilized and would have died. Alas. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1087. Facing a crowd of questioning high-level officials rushing to support him, Jia Yan's expression remained unchanged. After the noisy scene calmed down a little, he shook his head and spoke. Everyone, I have indeed known about this half-star existence for a long time, but I didn't say it, not because I really wanted to deceive everyone, but because I had a way to counter it. What method? Do you just want to fight with that Guo Wei tactic? We know that your Guo Wei tactic is very powerful, but it is impossible to deal with a creature that is at least 5 times more powerful than you, right? Who says it's impossible? Jia Yan shook his head. You don't know the power of Big Guo Wei's tactics. In short, you will know everything after the first battle. If the defense line really cannot stop it, anyway, it is our Earth fleet that is blocking the front. By then, everyone you can leave during the chaos. Jia Yan's words made all the senior executives startled, and then a flash of heartbeat flashed in their eyes. Jia Yan said so himself, of course they will consider it. But Jia Yan didn't say these words simply to give the other party a way out. The next words were what he really wanted to say. But if during the war, you don't fight with all your strength because you want a way out, then I'm sorry, I, Jia Yan, am not a kind person, and no civilization dares to fight with all my strength. You have also heard of my temper, and you won't be willing. See my revenge. These words made all the high-ranking officials of civilization hold their breath. Of course the Orion arm creature knows Jia Yan's temper. In order to take revenge, he could single-handedly attack the Rulan Empire, and in order to demand compensation from the Asta Empire, he even destroyed the biochemical emperor's army at that time. It would be terrible for such a strong person to take revenge, and they didn't want to see it. No matter what the adults say, we will naturally not fail to do our best. Yes, Master Jia Yan, since we are here, how could we do this? All the senior officials burst out laughing in compliment, but there was a bitterness in their smiles. You must know that most of the fleet leaders have similar thoughts. They came to take a look at the Earth's defense line. How could they stay if the war situation was not good? But now that Jia Yan has said no way out, I dare not listen. For such a strong person, even if his defense line collapses, he will most likely survive. You must know that Jia Yan is behind enemy lines, a man who stirs up troubles and troubles. Even if the opponent has a star and a half, they still believe that Jia Yan can survive. If they really dare to abuse foreign workers, they will be retaliated against. Having arranged almost every problem that Jia Yan could think of in the war, the entire Earth defense line has slowly moved forward, almost reaching the final stage of gradually approaching the enemy fleet. Satsuma-chan, you said that the enemy corpse that was sent to Earth before, do you think it has little connection with your biochemical empire? Yes, the other biological race is not like us at all. If they were the supporters or even the creators behind our biochemical empire, then I suspect that our biochemical empire race is basically a product of their technology. In the final stage of the war, Jia Yan had a conversation with Satsuma Kono. Then Jia Yan understood that the biochemical empire back then was probably a race created out of thin air by the other party after optimizing the biological cells collected from the Orion arm. This could explain why the biochemical empire's biochemical technology was so high, and it could also explain why the biochemical empire appeared out of thin air 300 years ago. They probably spent 300 years investigating the creatures, civilization levels, environment, etc. in Orion's arms. So this battle, the biochemical starfield forces also spent a lot of effort. Jia Yan sneered slightly. Even though the other party spent 300 years and now seems to have the entire situation under control, how could they have thought that there was a strong man who had traveled abroad in the arms of Orion? Sir, the enemy has approached 3 million kilometers and is about to enter the enemy's range. Suddenly, an extremely nervous voice contacted Jia Yan's communication channel. In the entire flagship of the Earth fleet, everyone's breathing suddenly became rapid. The people sitting here are all Earthlings, and there are no other high-level civilization officials in Jia Yan's flagship. And almost every Earthling in this flagship has no experience in space group battles. Even the battleships that Daifune commanded back then are extremely backward now, and it is basically the same as having no such experience. So everyone looked at Jia Yan. Don't worry, the opponent's ultimate range is 1.25 million kilometers. We will trick the opponent into firing a salvo at 1.25 million kilometers, and then use the overmatch tactic. Jia Yan smiled lightly, seemingly not worried about the current situation. He is the coach, and his performance can calm everyone down. In fact, Jia Yan is certainly not afraid of the opponent's warships. He has experienced warships and even personally destroyed warships that were more advanced than the opponent's. The total number is more than the enemy's warships at the moment, so there is no need to be afraid in this situation. The two sides slowly approached. Among the more than 11,000 warships on the Earth's defense line, more than 4,000 Earthling warships stood out, leaving the major civilization ship groups behind and approaching the front line of the battlefield. The major civilized warships behind them have opened a distance, and they will add them later according to the plan. At the same moment, the scene of this majestic war was broadcast live through video to the entire solar system and beyond, and even spread to several major civilizations further away through the Great Empire's special terminal Quantum Plus. Although the spread will be delayed, it is absolutely certain that this defensive battle will affect the hearts of several surrounding civilizations that have fallen or not fallen, and a total of hundreds of billions of creatures. Haha, the Earth's defense line on the opposite side has as many battleships as the other defense lines we have encountered before, but they were so stupid that they actually divided into two teams, with one team of more than 4,000 people coming to lead the battle. As expected, it is a novice civilization with no experience in space warfare. It would be embarrassing for us to fight against such a backward civilization. It seems that we only need to dispatch 200 battleships to destroy the opponent. Among the fleets of external creatures on the other side of the battle line, almost all the creatures laughed crookedly when they saw that the Earth's defense line had actually split up and a fleet of 4,000 warships flew in. The advantage of their external fleet was too great. Originally, the only chance for the fleet within the Orion Arm was for the group army to come over and gather firepower to give them a little threat. Maybe they could destroy more than 10 or 20 of their ships. But I didn't expect that the Earth's defense line would actually be divided. They are too lagging behind. Their maximum range is only 500,000 kilometers. Prepare artillery fire. We will fire salvos at 1.2 million kilometers. By the time they get close, there will only be a few hundred ships left of these 4,000 ships. It's so funny. This kind of group battle can be directed well with eyes closed. The level difference is so big that we can't display our commanding skills. Facing an enemy fleet whose total number was 10 times his own, his mentality at this moment was still that of a tourist. That's right, their 1,000 warships broke through the Kawo defense line all the way, and came to the Earth with almost no resistance. With the continuous victory, there is no fear in facing a new round of battle. Here we come, 1.3 million kilometers away, everyone, get ready. In a land of 1.3 million kilometers, the Earth fleet, which carries the entire Earth's efforts and is also the most important force of the entire defense line, is about to make contact with the opponent. Almost everyone on Earth is watching this scene. The Geo family watched, the logistics staff watched, and the workers in the factory stopped and watched. Everyone is troubled, and almost all of them are shouting "Come on" in their hearts. This is the first frontal group battle of the hastily formed Earth fleet. Compared with this, the previous battle with two Osta or Rulan Empire warships was like a child's playhouse. The only thing that is the same is that the gap between the two sides is still huge. 1.22 million kilometers. Come on, suddenly, a boy who was only 3 years old on Earth shouted. Come on, Jiachi also shouted at Jia's house. Come on, Jiaruo called. 1.21 million kilometers. Come on, Jialin shouted together at this distance. 1.2 million kilometers. At this moment, all the people on Earth in front of the screen felt a burst of light in front of them. The shooting angle was from the space camera behind the Earth's fleet. It saw a huge enemy fleet 1.2 million kilometers away. Suddenly seemed to explode with light. The entire starry sky seemed to explode and lit up instantly. 1,000 advanced warships in the outer star field suddenly burst into volleys of artillery fire. This terrifying power made an extra sun appear between heaven and earth. Even on Mars, the sun you see instantly changes into two. One is the sun, and the other is the ray of enemy artillery fire. Facing this terrifying volley of artillery fire were the majestic figures standing in front of the people on Earth, like 4,000 giant ships. Come on Earth fleet. The whole Earth went crazy. At this moment, everyone was ignited with gunpowder in their hearts and roared like crazy. Thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, millions of people, tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Billions of people. Yell at the same time. Come on, Earth fleet. That's not just 4,000 battleships, and it's not just the millions of soldiers in the battleships. These 4,000 battleships carry the hope of all billions of people on Earth and are also their chance to survive. At this moment, billions of people are shouting and roaring with their voices and encouragement. I want to convey it to the fleet soldiers. Listen to my orders. Under these countless crazy roars, the interior of the Earth fleet was quiet. Maybe some people are nervous, maybe some people have weak feet. Some people even turned pale from nervousness. But he didn't lose his mind. The nervous people came to their senses in an instant when a clear voice reached their ears. This is Jia Yan's voice, and it is also the voice of the protector of the people on Earth. They discovered that they were fighting in coordination with God. What else is there to be afraid of? The Pai Guo Wei strategy begins now, Jia Yan said in a calm voice. Battlefield Literature. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1088. Under the volley of artillery fire, all creatures looked at the Earth fleet in front of the light. The distance of 1.2 million kilometers seems far, but to the artillery fire of advanced civilizations, they are not much slower than light. Therefore, it can reach the location of the Earth fleet in a few dozen seconds at most. With this salvo, most of the so-called Earth fleet will be wiped out, you ridiculous natives. On the enemy fleet, several commanders looked at the scene in front of them happily. They look forward to the massacre. This kind of suppression and massacre at the level of civilization is where their fun lies. Whether the Earth fleet's overmatched tactics will work depends on this moment. There are more than 6,000 alien civilization warships behind the Earth's defense line, and there are also fleet creatures looking at them. If the Earth fleet is destroyed by this first round of artillery fire, they will definitely turn around and run away without hesitation. Close. Closer. Just when the light of the artillery fire reached the Earth fleet, it was less than 10,000 kilometers away. In space, the 1,000 Earth fleet warships arranged in strange postures all disappeared under everyone's attention. The next moment, thousands of main gunfires passed through the place where the Earth fleet was located, without any of the shots hitting anything. It's just like the whole thing passed through a vacuum of nothingness. What happened? On the side of the biochemical forces, all the senior battleship officers felt their hearts pounding and stood up one by one. What happened? On the Earth side, ordinary people don't know about the existence of Pai Guo Wei's tactics, and they all have their eyes widened at this moment. Haha, it actually succeeded. Master Jia Yan is really a strong man who can turn decay into magic. The major civilized warships further away from the Earth fleet were all ecstatic. But there was no further response for these people. The Earth fleet, which disappeared for a moment, actually reappeared less than 1,000,000 kilometers away from the enemy, using the speed of a charge. So fast. Did they use invisibility just now? They actually rushed so close to us. Damn it, there is such an advanced warship within the Orion arm. No, this Earth civilization really cannot be underestimated. Fight, fight, fight. We have an opponent in this battle, haha. On the side of the biochemical force fleet, seeing the intact Earth fleet, everyone's fighting spirit increased crazily. They are not afraid of powerful enemies, but will have a stronger sense of honor if they defeat such enemies. When the Earth fleet charged towards the enemy, the warships of various civilizations behind the Earth's defense line also began to charge according to the pre-war explanations. In the Earth fleet, all the battleships had experienced a magical scene before. They could feel the light of artillery fire from the outside, but with their bodies twisted, they all avoided the salvo of artillery fire. Then their speed suddenly increased. When they noticed that the scenery around them had returned, they found that the battleships had already getting closer and closer to the enemy fleet. 3-6, left. AG, come on. 2D NEDPSP, a series of sounds, through the power of brain waves, are directly transmitted to the major operating platforms of each warship. Under this powerful command, even when the other party uses the power of brain waves to correct wrong gestures and movements. The two warships seemed to be connected as one, and their movements were almost the same. Jia Yan's brainwave power and mind were extremely consumed. But now he is not afraid of using up his mind and strength at all. The real body has arrived in Orion's arms, and the faintly connected quantum has become more active. Not to mention the brainwave power, other powers can also be transmitted smoothly. Of course, under the influence of the clone's injury, even if he has the power, he cannot display a powerful battle. Power, in short, there is no limit to durability. The entire fleet seemed to combine into a terrifying steel behemoth, rushing towards the enemy like crazy. 4 or 5 ships, salvo. Damn it, they actually hit it again. What kind of stealth technology is this that can avoid our artillery fire? Ship 579, locked the opponent's S9 position. How could it be possible? They disappeared before they even opened fire. The Earth fleet flew as a whole. After the artillery fire from the opponent was no longer a salvo, Jia Yan also operated part of the fleet to enter subspace to avoid the incoming artillery fire. At the same time, after approaching 500,000 kilometers, the Earth fleet's attack also stopped. Here we go. Shoot you to death. The excited gunners of the Earth fleet pressed the gunfire switch with trembling fingers. Boom. It is a pity that the shooters who operate artillery fire generally lose their accuracy and judgment due to excitement. However, due to the Earth fleet's mistakes, the other party also made errors in judgment, and several huge warships were hit. Of course, the opponent's warship was too advanced. It was shot several times and the defensive light on the surface of the warship flashed, but it didn't have much impact at all. Don't worry, everything is just like the training I taught you. Stay calm. Jia Yan's voice rang in the heads of almost millions of soldiers. Calm down. That's right, calm down, we have mastered Jia Yan, and we have this almost invincible tactic of beating Wei, so what are we afraid of? Come on, one more shot, see if I can't kill you. That's right, don't be anxious, everyone. Although this is our first actual combat, Master Jia Yan is not. With him here, we have nothing to fear. Bring on your training skills. Each Earth soldier, although they may be inferior to soldiers from outside civilizations, they are all selected from among the billions of people on Earth with the best quality. At this moment, their mentality has stabilized slightly under Jia Yan's voice transmission, and the artillery fire that's right too. Ha! A gunner aimed at the battleship of the biochemical starfield force 100,000 kilometers away from his own battleship and fired cannon fire. And this time he remembered that Master Jia Yan once said that the weak point of this kind of warship is the side hatch. You must know that this is the experience that Jia Yan gained from fighting the opponent personally. At the same time, it seemed that this biochemical starfield force battleship was unlucky. In several Earth fleets, the gunners who had his intention pressed the gunfire switch. Less than 3 seconds later, above the interstellar space, the first exploding warship in this battle appeared. What shocked everyone was that the first exploded warship did not belong to the Earth's defense line. On the contrary, it belonged to the fleet of external forces that was considered invincible. Haha, well done, the Earth fleet is awesome. Go, the Earth fleet that trains with us every day is so awesome? This baby is scared to death. Crazy, crazy. This battle for the Earth's defense line is going to defy the heavens. The first blood was actually won by the Earth fleet. It's so scary. The people of the Earth fleet who were in the battlefield had no time to react that they had scored first blood. The warships of the outside civilization that were rushing behind the Earth fleet were all shocked and messy in the wind. They were almost frightened by the performance of the Earth fleet. Gotta eat a whale. Okay. All over the Earth, the people on Earth were like chicken blood. Seeing that their own side had not damaged a single battleship, they destroyed an enemy battleship that was rumored to be almost undefeated by the outside world. Everyone clapped their hands and applauded. My hands were red from clapping, and my voice was hoarse without even noticing. Ha ha ha, come again. Master Jia Yan's training is indeed correct. We actually have such strong combat effectiveness. Roar. The strongest on Earth. The soldiers on the Earth battleship, as if they were unaware of this, some members noticed this scene, and then almost everyone felt that power filled their whole body, and their self-confidence also came. Boom. But at this moment, an Earth battleship was hit by enemy fire. It was like a basin of cold water being poured down, making everyone shiver and quickly turn their heads to look. After all, Jia Yan wants to control the entire fleet. He cannot control a single warship to enter subspace. Therefore, when a warship is in crisis on the battlefield, he can only sigh in vain. Of course, he could use his almost unlimited power from his true body to help a handful in other ways. I saw in the starry sky, after the explosion flames faded away, a large piece of the Earth battleship that was hit by enemy artillery fire was missing. There were bursts of flames and arc flashes inside, and it seemed that it was about to explode. But after careful inspection, the battleship is still roughly intact. Back off, back off. Lord Jia Yan, help us, otherwise we will destroy the whole ship. The commander of the Earth in the battleship, seeing this scene, of course knew that he could be saved. It wasn't that the enemy's artillery fire was not strong enough. After all, the opponent's artillery fire was invincible. Even if they drove a big Imperial warship and faced it head-on, there is definitely more than just this kind of damage. At the moment of the explosion, Jia Yan used his brainwave power to help block it for a moment. Although the function was only a buffer, it was definitely life-saving. What? Jia Yan actually has such terrifying brainwave power and can help his own warships block gunfire. Is this still a venerable level? Inside the enemy battleship, a terrifying creature couldn't sit still. What a bullshit Earth fleet, let me destroy them. After the creature finished speaking, it jumped out of the battleship it belonged to and charged directly towards the Earth fleet that was confronting the fleet of the biochemical starfield forces less than 2,000 kilometers away. Boom. But the moment he left, 2 more warships exploded on the side of the biochemical force fleet. This made the creature's face look ugly for a moment. You must know that the Earth fleet had not completely lost 1 battleship, but they had destroyed 3 ships. This battle damage ratio was not right. Humph, no matter what method you use, you will die when I rush over. The sub-level creature was wearing armor, and a faint layer of energy defense light flashed on the surface of the armor. The armor's defense was only enough for him to rush into the Earth's fleet. Even if the opponent concentrated fire and attacked, he would have to use his body to resist the artillery fire. However, he was sure that his own fleet would definitely help him by this time. He also believed that as long as he could rush into the Earth's fleet, he would be able to cause a bloody storm, so he fought hard. Lord Jia Yan, a level creature, appeared that time. Jia Yan also heard the intelligence personnel's report on the appearance of this creature. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1089. In the Earth Fleet intelligence data, possible secondary creatures have been analyzed for a long time. Delta Delta. As someone who had personally spoken to him, Jia Yan knew all about this biological powerhouse. According to the plan, let him get close first, 4C to 6C ships, and start defensive consumption against him. Jia Yan faintly showed off his brainwave power. Jia Yan's words were well implemented. 4,000 warships, still as before, bombarded the enemy warship from a distance. During this period, Two more battleships of the Earth fleet were bombarded by the opponent, and Jia Yan also ordered them to retreat in time. After all, the opponent's warship was too advanced, and it slowly regained the advantage in this pair of bombardments. Haha, the Earth fleet is now being held back by our fleet. When I attack, I can't even focus the fire on it. That time, the creature moved forward despite the gunfire of more than a dozen warships. He flies very fast, covering thousands of kilometers almost in an instant. But the defensive equipment on his body gradually dimmed and disappeared. It doesn't matter, I have already rushed to the front of their fleet. As long as I enter the fleet, that's when I start killing. This time, the creature's expression flashed with joy, and then he was about to crash into the Earth's fleet. It is foreseeable that if he breaks in, there will be casualties one after another on the Earth's battleships. You must know the attack of sub-level creatures. If nothing else, the impact of brainwave power alone will cause the Earthlings in the battleships to die. Soldiers die. In this way, the Earthlings who can still fight against the enemy fleet will soon be defeated. But at the moment when this subclass was about to charge into the Earth fleet. Haha, die, et. The next time Guansheng burst into laughter, his brainwave power had already been brewing, and he was about to blast towards the nearest Earth battleship. But at this moment, the scenery in front of him changed completely. Pieces of warships disappeared out of thin air. What happened? The brainwave power contained in this sub-level creature almost exploded, but there was no enemy in front of him. He had nowhere to vent his energy and almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, the enemy fleet that was fighting against the Earth fleet was also shocked among all the battleships. That's it again, they disappeared. How could this happen? What kind of tactic is this? I just felt a faint fluctuation in space. Could it be space transfer? It's impossible. No force in our biochemical star field has this kind of technology. Only the Earthlings are backward. How could a battleship have it? When the creatures of that level and all the biochemical force warships were confused, a large ray of light suddenly appeared only 10,000 kilometers away from the creatures of the next level. Come him out for me. Jia Yan's voice suddenly appeared within this light. If you look closely, this large ray of light is not the Earth's fleet that disappeared before, so what is it? At this moment, they suddenly appeared, and their target was clearly the sub-level creature that was still confused 10,000 kilometers away. Boom! Battleships, like angry and roaring steel giants, fired fiercely at the second-level creature that was still unable to respond. At this moment, not only the sub-level creatures did not react, but also the biochemical warships that had just exchanged fire with the Earth fleet did not react. When the creature in that level suddenly felt a wave of terrifying threats coming from behind, it was already too late. What? This? He turned around, but only saw the light filling the sky, and he was about to arrive. Ah! This time, the level creature quickly activated the defensive technology items hanging on its body. But it had already withstood too many bombardments before, and now it has almost reached the limit of energy exhaustion. Buh! The first burst of artillery energy came to the monster's body surface and was resisted by the activated defensive energy. But the second burst of artillery fire hit hard. The entire defensive energy was directly wiped out, and the secondary pass creature was almost terrified and quickly activated its brainwave power to resist the gunfire. But this was not the end, there was almost no pause, and a burst of artillery fire suddenly bombarded in the direction he was heading. It is true that the artillery fire of the Earthlings is not accurate enough, but this is 4,000 warships firing at the same time. 10,000 kilometers is an extremely accurate distance for space battleships. Even if 4,000 battleships only have a 1/10 hit rate, that is the terrifying power of more than 400 main guns. The creature's own brainwave power alone does not have the ability to hide in subspace like subspace creatures, so how can it resist? 1, 2, 3. 100, 150. Finally, when the creature at that level had endured 190 hours, the brainwave power was exhausted. On the 191st, artillery fire hit his body surface directly. The terrifying main gunfire caused the flesh and blood on his body to fly, and large burn marks appeared directly on his body. "Ah, please help me, sir." The creature from Sigwan retreated quickly in severe pain, shouting towards the fleet of biochemical forces not far away. But everything was in vain. Even if a terrifying brainwave power suddenly rose in the fleet, there was no time to rescue them. Boom! The 200th main gun hit the head of the second-level creature. He couldn't resist the blow. The entire brain was ruptured, and the body was destroyed again by the gunfire from behind. After thousands of shots were fired, this time, except for pieces of broken flesh and blood, nothing was left where the creature was. This sub-level creature, which had been around for a long time and was killing a lot of people at the Ostau defense line, actually died under the fire of the Earth fleet without doing anything at all. Not only was the enemy horrified by this scene, but the defensive civilization fleet approaching the battlefield behind the Earth fleet was also overjoyed. All humans on Earth, clap your hands in congratulations. What kind of biochemical starfield force? What a sub-level! With the cooperation of Earth athletes and Master Jia Yan, it's not all about dying. You bastard, you actually dare to kill my powerful force in the biochemical starfield, the Earth fleet, you are seeking death. Just when almost all of the Earth soldiers were overjoyed, the rescue brainwave power in the enemy fleet suddenly increased in momentum. It was so majestic, almost like the great devil was born. The entire interstellar space has undergone extremely astonishing distortions, as if space cannot withstand the influence of this terrifying force and is about to destroy large tracts. Half-star level. Is this half-star level? It's scary. I don't even want to get close to it. Horrifying. Can this kind of thing be considered a living thing? It should be a god. The aftertaste of brainwave power almost rose into the sky and affected hundreds of thousands of kilometers around it, although there was no big impact in the distance. But the expressions of the high-level creatures in the alien civilization battleship that were still close to each other changed drastically. Sub-level creatures from the outside world are almost invincible within the Orion arm. How terrifying would a half-star level creature even more powerful than a sub-level creature be? This group of high-level civilization leaders from the outside world actually had the idea of escaping again when they saw that the Earth fleet had just won a great victory and killed the opponent's level creatures. You must know that the opponent's half-star strongman only showed a hint of brainwave power. Do not be afraid. On the Earth fleet's side, they were also extremely shocked. Although they were more than 20,000 kilometers apart, there were actually some Earth soldiers whose strength had not reached the heaven level. Their whole bodies froze under the power of the opponent's brainwaves. Jia Yan spoke up. Accompanying his voice, a brainwave power that, although much weaker in comparison, could relieve the soldier's state, was gently transmitted and lifted the stiffness of most of the soldiers in the Earth's fleet. The enemy fleet on the opposite side has already taken advantage of this moment to press towards the Earth fleet. Humph, you guys are so hot-tempered. It makes sense to attack my Orion arm, but why wouldn't you be happy if you killed a strong man like you? Haha. I, Jia Yan, will be watching today. How can you let me die? Although Jia Yan's indifferent voice could not cause space shock like the other parties, it was still transmitted to the entire interstellar space. Just when the opponent was less than 10,000 kilometers away, the entire Earth fleet was actually in front of the opponent's artillery fire, and lost its trace again. Ah! What kind of tactic is this? Hiding in subspace. That terrifying sound almost roared inside the enemy warship. You must know that in this battle, they fought extremely depressed. The Earth fleet was lagging behind in every aspect, but because of this strategy of being able to enter subspace, it was impossible to capture the biochemical starfield force fleet. If you fight, you won't be able to hit them, if you chase them, you won't be able to catch them. Send a sub-level strongman to charge, and he was killed by the opponent. How to fight this? And just as the biochemical Starfield Force fleet was thinking about countermeasures, the defensive civilization fleet chasing behind the Earth fleet finally entered the war zone 500,000 kilometers away. Fire, collective fire. Almost all of the high-level civilized officials were thirsty and gave orders to fire with excitement and fear in their hearts. The bright light at the end of the sky, 500,000 kilometers away, was like the moment when the enemy gathered fire before, shining brightly and illuminating the entire starry sky. Although the firepower of a single battleship cannot match that of the opponent, this is the main gun firepower of 6,000 to 7,000 battleships. Even compared to the previous sight of the opponent's 1,000 ships concentrating fire, it is not much worse. Dodge. The opponent's warships had obviously seen too many concentrated fires from the Orion Arm civil warships, and the commanders of each warship issued orders without any surprise. The artillery firepower of the Orion Arm battleship is not as good as theirs. If it is 500,000 kilometers away, they can easily avoid this concentrated fire by using the battleship they have obtained long ago to withdraw. Is it that easy? Just when a group of enemy warships were about to leave, a huge fleet of more than 4,000 ships appeared in the enemy's detection system like a ghost. Not good. The demeanor of the commanders of the biochemical Starfield forces has changed drastically. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1090. They were about to avoid the concentrated fire from the fleet behind the defense line, but the Earth fleet appeared next to them again. Pen Delta QUGE. Everyone knows what the Earth fleet wants to do. But I know, but there is no way to deal with it. Bo. The Earth fleet also fired a salvo at close range. Although the artillery fire of these 4,000 warships is quite large, due to the lack of energy concentration, the power is not as powerful as the main guns of 6,000 or 7,000 warships fired from a distance, but it cannot be underestimated. Resist hard, the main purpose is to escape. That half-star existence was so depressed that he almost vomited blood in the flagship. At this moment, the order was issued like a turtle. A group of battleships from the biochemical Starfield forces ignored the attack of the Earth battleships, and instead rushed like crazy towards places beyond the range of the enemy's large group of ships. As for the Earth battleship, as the opponent was escaping, they fired their artillery fire. Since the enemy did not fight back, they naturally had a good result. One after another, enemy warships exploded as the Earth fleet pursued them. In this time of pursuit and escape, 5 more battleships of the biochemical Starfield Force fleet were destroyed by the Earth battleships. The other 3 battleships couldn't help but stop to fight back the Earth fleet. Before that, the Earth fleet suddenly disappeared into space. Countless cannon fire rays also arrived from behind. The 3 warships that had no time to escape were like little bugs in the countless rays of light. The defensive light burst in minutes, and then the entire warship exploded. This concentrated fire tactic caused the loss of 8 enemy warships. In this battle, the enemy has lost no less than 10 warships, plus the second master of the entire fleet, a strong person of the second level. This is a huge loss, not to mention that they have not yet taken advantage of this battle. Retreat first, this Earth fleet is too weird. The opponent's half-star existence did not show off its courage, but issued an evacuation order after leaving the battle circle. The Earth fleet once again fell into subspace and appeared on the side of the opponent's evacuation route. Unfortunately, the enemy was well trained and did not give the Earth fleet any chance at all. Instead, after this wave of attack and escape, the Earth fleet side was damaged 3 more battleships. Stop chasing me. It's already pretty good to get this kind of battle result. Jia Yan finally gave up the pursuit. What is actually good, in the eyes of others, is almost a miracle. You must know that since the entire Orion Arm battle, This is the first time that a fleet of biochemical starfield forces has been forced to retreat by a head-on confrontation. What is even more shocking is that the one who achieved this miracle was not the familiar Great Imperial Fleet, but the Earth civilization, which had been considered to be a primary civilization despite its great reputation. Of course, the civilized warships rushing to the rear also contributed a lot, but unlike the Earth civilization who bravely fought the enemy head-on at the front, they would be killed by the enemy on the spot in a duel. Above the Earth. Seeing the Earth's fleet appear on the enemy's flank, and then being forced by the opponent to stop the pursuit, all the people on Earth felt regretful. But then, everyone saw the enemy fleeing in panic. Escaped. The biochemical starfield forces actually escaped. I have never heard of a fleet of forces from the biochemical starfield escaping. It was our Earth fleet that accomplished this feat, ha ha ha. Earth's fleet is the strongest. Long live Lord Jia Yan. Although it did not cause much damage to the enemy before, it was able to force the enemy back, which was beyond the imagination of the people on Earth. Even the losses incurred were not large. In addition to the damage of various sizes to the 10 battleships in the Earth fleet, none of them exploded in the air. You must know that the explosion of a battleship like that would mean the death of at least thousands of soldiers. Fortunately, such a scene did not happen. Compared with other fleet battles, where hundreds or even thousands of ships were lost to the enemy and ourselves, this time in the Great Battle of the Earth's defense line, there were not many casualties on both sides. But to force a retreat is to force a retreat. This might also be the first time that the forces in the biochemical star territory have tasted the bitter fruit of failure since the beginning of the entire Orion Arm campaign. Epoch-making significance. This, your Earth fleet really did it. Even if this kind of thing happens right in front of me, I can't believe it. The Earth battleships slowly retreated one by one. Almost every one of the major civilized battleships that greeted them looked at the Earth fleet in disbelief. The overall appearance of the soldiers on the Earth fleet at this moment is different in the eyes of alien civilizations, not only because of a great victory, but also because they have proved their strength. Of course, almost everyone knows who the real hero of this incident is. Jia Yan. Without his tactics that match Wei's, and without his brainwave power to help withstand enemy artillery fire time and time again, the Earth fleet would definitely be destroyed by a salvo of enemy fire. Jia Yan seems to be telling others with practical actions that even if his strength has not recovered, he is still so powerful and can still turn decay into magic. Master Jia Yan, it's too scary. It is said that he has been to the outer starry sky. It seems that our Orion arm is still too closed. If this crisis can be overcome, we should also know more about the outside world. That's right, otherwise we will still be so backward in the future. Without Lord Jia Yan's protection, we will all perish this time. Let's not talk about things that are so far away. I don't know whether I can survive this time. Even if I win a small victory, the opponent's strength is still not lost. If the opponent touches our bottom line next time, it will not be so easy to deal with. Some of the top leaders of major civilizations were surprised by this battle, while others were indifferent to it. After all, seeing the battle loss ratio, it is not that reliable to say that this is a big victory. No one would believe that the combined battle losses of both sides did not reach 50. This would be a large-scale group battle involving tens of thousands of warships. Of course, in the actual battle scene, the Earth's defense line was overwhelming the opponent, but unfortunately the technological level of the two warships was too different. If someone hits you, you will lose half your life. What about you? It takes more than 10 attacks to cause damage to someone, and if you don't attack well, 10 times may not cause damage to the opponent. This is embarrassing. Even if you suppress the opponent like that, you still can't get an effective kill. Hello everyone, we meet again. Jia Yan wore the uniform of the Honorary Marshal of the Earth Fleet and came before a group of high-level civilization officials. Congratulations to Mr. Jia Yan for returning victoriously. The Earth fleet is indeed formidable. We admire it. All the high-level civilized officials stood up quickly and showed great respect to Jia Yan. Ha, everyone with a discerning eye knows that we have tried our best to win this victory, but the other party was just careless. It's hard to say what will happen next. Jia Yan sighed slightly in a self-deprecating manner, and then came to the main seat and sat down regardless of other people's demeanor. However, my battle still made the other party have concerns. Next, I think the other party will confront us for at least a while. What about after a while? If the other party comes in groups again, can we stop them? A senior civilized official couldn't help but asked about Jia Yan. What he wanted to ask was what other senior officials also wanted to ask, because they wanted to know if Jia Yan had any other backups besides matching Wei's tactics. Although the tactics of Jingwei are amazing, the civilized warships in Orion's arm are still too weak. Even if the Earth fleet can appear in groups beside the opponent, the artillery fire is not strong enough. A single salvo may not be able to take away several enemy ships. Battleship, this time the opponent is not prepared. If next time, there are too many ways to break this tactic. So even if they win, they are not very optimistic about the next large-scale battle. After a period of time, Jia Yan looked at the sonic civilized creature. The opponent was a 20-meter-tall fox-like creature. When Jia Yan looked at it, he was shocked. He almost thought that the question touched on Jia Yan's pain, and he groaned slightly in his heart. He had known better and would not have asked. Unexpectedly, all the creatures were surprised to find that Jia Yan smiled, not an angry laugh, but a sincere laugh. After a period of time, as long as I can hold on for another week, no. 6.5 days to be precise, then I will show you another miracle. So these 6.5 days are the biggest problem. No matter how the enemy attacks during this period, I ask Shiyuan to test it. I ask all of you to fight hard. Can you do it? Another miracle? Is it like a miracle that can match Wei's tactics? All the high-level civilized officials looked at Jia Yan blankly. They really want to say that they can't do it? Who would fight to the death for the civilization of the Earth just for the promise of an unfounded miracle? But the person who said this was Jia Yan, a man who has brought miracles to the entire Orion arm time and time again. They fell silent. Then, a long time passed. The person who spoke first stood up with a smile. He is the current head of the Eternal Earth Kingdom and the former regent. He is also the one who formulates the basic policies of the Earth Eternal Kingdom, who trusts Jia Yan the most. Now that Master Jia Yan has said his words, we in the Yangsha Kingdom will naturally believe in you. For 6.5 days, even if the enemy wants to step on my body and pass by, I will fight to the death to defend the line. Following his words, several senior civilized officials who were also puzzled stood up with gritted teeth. Most of them are high-level exiles who have lost their country. The same is true for us. In the next 6 days, we are willing to coexist and die with the Earth's defense line. Yes, since Lord Jia Yan has said so, we are willing to believe him. It's only 6.5 days, we will definitely be able to resist. Jia Yan smiled even brighter. Then De Funi, who was on the side, heard Jia Yan's message. I have made a contribution to this earth that belongs to the country forever, and I will repay you well in the future. Yes, De Funi also smiled slightly, and then entered a piece of information on the brain on her arm. The first large-scale battle fought by the Earth fleet was a complete victory. Even this victorious enemy is still wreaking havoc throughout the Orion arm, with almost no rivals from the alien fleet. Thanks to the book friends who tipped, thank you. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1091. Not long after the battle, the voice of the half-star powerhouse on the other side of the starry sky sounded in the battleship. Omega Penkug. Humph, Earth civilization, Jia Yan, has actually caused us such a huge loss of face. Although we will definitely win if we attack by force, I am afraid of trouble. Let's get that communication out. The victory of the Earth civilization, although it was only a small victory, could block the first wave of attacks from the forces of the biochemical star territory. This was something that no civilization in the entire Orion Arm could do. The impact of this incident was so great that it didn't take long for it to spread among surrounding civilizations. Moreover, the envoys of the Great Empire all over the Orion Arm used an extremely fast communication method to report to the senior officials of the Great Empire. What? Master Jia Yan won a victory over the Earth civilization. Within the Great Empire, the Great General, who was originally the highest commander of Kaowo's defense line and was also the second prince of the Great Empire, almost had his eyes popping out of his head when he heard the information he had just received. He may know the level of Earth civilization better than any royal family of any great empire. Even most of the current warships of Earth civilization were sent by him with a wave of his hand. And such a small civilization that he looked down on could actually defeat a wave of attacks from the biochemical starfield forces. This is simply a magical thing. It seems that even if His Excellency Jia Yan is injured, as a magical person, he should never be underestimated. The general almost smiled bitterly. He also heard the news when Jia Yan was trapped behind enemy lines before, but after Jia Yan's combat power was no longer so amazing, he didn't value Jia Yan too much. After all, in this kind of war, the strength of a venerable man would not be so great. It's important, especially since Jia Yan's strength seems not to be strong at all in the eyes of the other party. But not long after he gave up on Jia Yan and the Earth civilization, news of victory came from the Earth civilization. I have been commanding the battle line for so long, but I have never won a single frontal victory. It seems that I will take a closer look at the way Earth wins. The second prince's ability to assume the political power of the great emperor was not entirely due to his royal status, but more to his ability. Now that he knew that the Earth could actually do things that even he could not do, he opened the intelligence almost immediately. Recorded video. What kind of tactic is this? Then the second prince was almost shocked from the beginning to the end of the battle. After watching the battle video in full, he understood that there was no way he could learn from the battle on Earth. Master Jia Yan, what other secrets do you have? After he smiled bitterly, he shook his head with some pity, but this tactic is useless no matter how magical it is. The overall technology of the battleship is too far behind. If the Earth can win this battle, the next one is not certain. What's more, the outside civilization is not only it's just such a fleet. He determined that the victory of the Earth was just a reflection of the light on his deathbed. The people of the great empire are not that concerned about the victory of the Earth. You must know that apart from the extremely powerful Jia Yan, the Earth is just an ordinary small civilization. Before Jia Yan was strong, the great empire was not interested in the victory of the Earth. Courtesy, now that Jia Yan's strength has become mediocre, the Earth has become that weak civilization again. What's more, the Earth is thousands of miles away from the great empire. The great empire has too much time to take care of itself, let alone a small battle on Earth. Of course, interested people still watched this so-called victory video. Haha, the enemy didn't even lose 100 battleships. How dare you claim victory in such a battle? This is the attitude of most people in the great empire. Time passed slowly. Originally, Jia Yan thought that the opponent's fleet would be furious and continuously attack, so he mobilized all civilized warships in the entire defense line to guard against it day and night. But what he didn't expect was that as time passed slowly, the fleet of biochemical starfield forces hundreds of millions of kilometers away seemed to be stationed, with no signs of attack at all. It's the fifth day, what do they want to do? A few days later, Jia Yan was in the command flagship, looking at the images transmitted from the small aircraft, but the other party still seemed to have made no move. He was wondering, but at the same time, he felt a little happy about the day that was getting closer and closer. No matter what tricks you play, the longer it takes, the better it is for me. The fifth day. In another day and a half, the real speed ship will arrive. In fact, he has already arrived in the Asta Empire. The speed ship has slowly emerged from the deep space. He can jump out of the space at any time if he wants. The day after tomorrow at noon, a day and a half, by then, everything will no longer be a problem. Thinking of this, Jia Yan almost felt happy. As the chief commander, the joy he showed affected the entire fleet. Now not only the top brass of the defense line, but also ordinary soldiers are spreading the news that in a day and a half, Lord Jia Yan will have a miracle to turn things around. Although many people have doubts about this, more people choose to believe it. No reason, just because the person who said these words was Lord Jia Yan. Especially the people on earth have almost a fanatical belief in Jia Yan's words. The days pass slowly, half a day, 12 hours, almost fleeting. 1 day. 24 hours. The smile on Jia Yan's face became even brighter. And the entire defense line also became relaxed. The miracle Lord Jia Yan mentioned will be born in 1 day. No matter what kind of miracle it is, it must be a good thing. Maybe this defensive battle can really block the enemy's attack. But just a few seconds into the 24-hour countdown, a crazy alarm communication came to this originally extremely exciting defense line. What? Behind our defense line, another enemy fleet appears behind us, and they are already approaching the Earth. The entire defense line was in commotion almost instantly. You know, the Earth is the rear area. If something unexpected happens, the defense line will collapse in an instant. How could this happen? Isn't there just one enemy fleet? How come there is suddenly an extra one, and it is approaching the Earth quietly? When Jia Yan heard the news, he could hardly believe it. You must know that the Earth is basically in the hinterland, and they are defending on Mars. Although the enemy may not necessarily pass through the starry sky of Mars, they can meet the enemy early as long as they pass through the monitoring system at the edge of the solar system. And this enemy fleet that suddenly appeared showed no signs of appearing at all. Even just after it appeared, it was only a few 100 million kilometers away from the Earth, which was already an extremely dangerous distance. Lord Jia Yan, the fleet on the opposite side has also moved and is pressing on our army. What should we do now? Everyone on Earth is crazy. They thought they could at least resist the enemy fleet group in front of them, but they did not expect that another fleet came from the other side. What was even more terrifying was that it actually approached the Earth silently. They wanted to turn back to save them, but the confrontation fleet behind them seemed to have known about it for a long time and was approaching. If you turn back to rescue, you will definitely be chased and beaten by the opponent. In the end, let alone saving the Earth, even this defense line will collapse. What if you don't save him? How can it be? Most of the Earth soldiers here have their families on Earth. Even if their family members are not on Earth, losing the Earth's mother planet means losing the supply line, and there will be absolutely no way to survive in the future. Faced with this situation, even Jia Yan was stunned for a moment. Asshole! You actually did this to me. Jia Yan smiled bitterly almost instantly. Sure enough, fleet battles are simply not something that I can play. Compared with this opponent who commands battleships all year round, even if I have advanced tactics, I still can't compare. He immediately thought that the other party did not have 3 heads and 6 arms, nor did he have any teleportation skills. But from the very beginning, the opponent had 2 fleets entering the solar system, one in the light and one in the dark. And want to hide it from detection systems outside the solar system. Is this difficult for outsiders to understand? In other words, from the beginning, the other party did not underestimate him, Jia Yan, but put him, the mother civilization of the strongest Orion arm, in a very high position. Otherwise, why would they? 2 fleets at once. It's just that there is definitely something wrong with underestimating him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been defeated so miserably in the previous battle, and a strong person from the next level would have died. It's impossible not to save the Earth. The only way now is. Jia Yan looked at the fleet around him, and then a ruthless look appeared in his heart. Everyone. In the command flagship, a large number of commanders from various civilizations, as well as the top officials of the Earth fleet who were in chaos, heard Jia Yan's words. I saw a slight chill in Jia Yan's eyes. There is no other way now. The Earth must be protected, but this line of defense must not be completely destroyed. We have only one way. Jia Yan moved his eyes, and then looked at the current leader of the Earth's eternal kingdom. I am going to use the Earth fleet to rush to the aid of the Earth with all its strength, while your major civilization fleets will stay here on Mars to cooperate with the artillery fire around Mars to resist the enemies on the front. Sir, there is no way we can block it. After hearing Jia Yan's words, the expression of Yang Ji Kuyuan, who had been stared at by Jia Yan for a long time, changed. Jia Yan wants them to die? I didn't ask you to block it. Jia Yan shook his head. 24, no, there are only 23 hours and 42 minutes left. As long as we block this time, I said, a miracle will happen. You just need to rely on the Martian defense facilities to resist the enemy. When the time comes, everything will change. But another high-level civilization official wanted to say something almost immediately. Before that, Jia Yan glanced over. The other party found that he couldn't move for an instant. Only then did he think with a wry smile that he had been in contact with Jia Yan a lot in the past few days, but most of them were exchanging fleet command skills, and he had forgotten that Jia Yan was a strong man that they could not resist at all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1092. There is no but. In the current situation, even if you want to escape, it will definitely be too late. Our Earth fleet can use the tactics of overtaking way to leave quickly. The guys chasing after you are much faster than you and will only swallow you up one by one. Clean. Penkuj. Your only choice is to believe me. 24 hours. As long as these 24 hours pass, everyone can be saved. It's up to you what to do. Our Earth fleet will set sail immediately. After Jia Yan finished speaking, he directly eliminated the situation, and actually used his subspace talent to go to another giant ship of the Earth battleship in an instant. In less than 2 minutes, the entire Earth battleship that received his order instantly spurted out engine flames. Then 4,000 giant ships just disappeared into this huge defense line group. This, just left like this. Looking at the Earth fleet, which after leaving 10 kilometers away, directly activated the way strategy and flew towards the Earth, almost all the civilized warships here looked at each other. Hello everyone, I am the Earth staff who is staying to assist you. A crisp female voice sounded inside the defense flagship. The high-level creatures of civilization stared away. They were a little surprised that there were 2 women standing where they were talking. One was Daifuni, who they were very familiar with and understood that women had a very high status in the Earth civilization. The other one, the one who spoke, has a beautiful appearance. Even creatures who don't understand the beauty of Earth people can feel her perfection. This is like an earthly woman with golden proportions. All creatures who see her can feel the beauty. But they were still confused. It was appropriate for the Earth to leave high-level officials to support them, but why was it not the well-known Daphne who spoke? They have actually seen the talking woman a lot lately, always following Jia Yan, but she doesn't talk much. Let me introduce myself. My name is Satsumakan, and I am the wife of Mr. Jia Yan. Coax. When Satsumakan said these words, the entire command cabin exploded, and every creature was extremely surprised. They knew why this woman could stay with Mr. Jiayan every day. It turns out to be Lord Jiayan's wife. At the same time, they also understood why the other party was able to speak in front of Daifuni, because in this situation, she was definitely the best person to stand up. Lord Jiayan letting this wife appear at this moment shows that he has not really abandoned the civilized fleet here. Even his wife stayed. Isn't this the best way to calm people's minds? I heard that Mr. Jiayan only has one wife and one son. If this is his wife, he must take it very seriously. You must know that this is his only wife and she is also the mother of his child. Of course they don't know the complicated relationship of Jiayan's family, they just take it for granted. Daifuni calmed down her emotions as soon as she saw all the creatures. Even though she still criticized Jiayan, she just felt uncomfortable and put down the last burden on her heart. She sighed and walked out. Satsumakan said so many words, she knew that he had reached his limit. Now everyone understands that Mr. Jiayan definitely does not want to abandon you, otherwise he would not let Madam stay here and take risks with you. When the word MRS came up, Daphne's originally very good eloquence was almost at a loss for words. But she put aside this little mistake and continued to speak. Now please cooperate with Lord Jiayan's arrangements and retreat to Mars. After Daifuni said all this, a group of high-level civilization officials had come to their own conclusions. Anyway, escaping is basically difficult. After all, the two sides are too close. Once the main force of the Earth fleet escapes, it is impossible for them to escape much under the enemy's pursuit. They might as well give it a try. Didn't you see that Master Jiayan left his wife on the ship to share the adversity with them? In the subspace, a large number of battleships raised their speed to the highest level. In this space, Jiayan looked extremely dignified. It was his intention to keep Satsuma and Daifuni behind, especially to expose Satsuma as his wife, which was also what Jiayan said. He was very excited about this battle. Although the opponent made a surprise attack and it was beyond Jiayan's expectation, the opponent would never have guessed that the situation of the battle would be completely changed in just 24 hours. Therefore, he must find a way to stabilize both battlefields, because no matter which side collapses, it will represent a huge loss for the current Earth civilization. There is already a large population on Mars. There are not only a huge number of new immigrants from Earth, but also the original gray-yellow star creatures with a population of 20 to 30 million. As a last resort, Jiayan did not want this group of people, who could also be called Earthlings, to die or be injured. The Earth is even more like this. There are billions of people on the Earth there, and even Jiayan's relatives are there. If the Earth is destroyed, Jiayan feels that he may go crazy. The time is only 24 hours, and the other side will not know this. If we resist a little more frantically, in order to reduce casualties, they will never attack too fiercely. As long as it lasts 24 hours, then it will be our victory. Jiayan felt slightly cruel. He was betting that even if there was a difference of 1 second before and after 24 hours, the result might be completely different. Every soldier in the Earth fleet also had red eyes. For them, now is a battle to defend the Earth. If they lose this battle, almost everyone will lose their family, relatives, and friends. They couldn't help but make their eyes red. No one can hold us back in the coming battle, let's fight. That's right, if the Earth is with us, we will be with it, and if the Earth dies, we will die. The Earth is here and we are here, and if the Earth dies, we will die. The Earth is here and we are here, and when the Earth dies, we will perish. The roars from the outside world reached Jiayan's ears, and Jiayan also felt the high fighting spirit within the Earth fleet. In fact, this was the same for him. It was almost a desperate battle between trapped beasts. He could understand the thoughts of this group of Earth soldiers. The flight in subspace is extremely fast. When the report came, The enemy's new fleet was only a few 100 million kilometers away from the Earth, but the Earth's fleet had just set off and flew from Mars. Let alone being faster than the opponent, even if it could arrive within 24 hours, it already showed that this was the fleet is extremely advanced. But through Jia Yan's tactics of overcoming Wei, and Jia Yan risking his life and using the power of brain waves, even a small black hole in front of a group of battleships was pulling the fleets forward crazily. The Earth fleet actually arrived in front of the Azure Star ahead of the huge new fleet in the biochemical star field. Haha, the Earth is right in front of us. We will fly past the so-called moon and arrive at the Earth immediately. Our artillery can even fire now and blast that disgusting blue star to pieces. 1 million kilometers away from the Earth, a fleet of about 1,200 ships violently advanced toward the Earth at an extremely high altitude. Among these alien forces, they seem to think that the blue planet is not good looking. Seeing the Earth so close, every alien creature has a disgusting look on their face, and they are too cruel to blow the Earth to pieces right now. Don't worry, wait until we get close and fire slowly. At this distance, our artillery fire may be stopped by the planet's defense. Yes, when the time comes, we will destroy this Earth. Just when this huge fleet rushed across the starry sky and almost approached the moon. In the originally empty starry sky, the entire starry sky became distorted. Then in this starry sky, equally huge warships seemed to suddenly appear, blocking the opponent's path. It's actually the Earth fleet. How could they come here so quickly? What a speed! It seems that the battleship skills mastered by the other party are definitely not simple, but don't be afraid. This technological fleet is too weak. Since they came to die, we can just destroy them. Fire, fire! Almost as soon as the 1,200 warships saw the huge fleet that had just appeared in the starry sky, they concentrated their fire and launched an attack. The two sides were so close that they didn't even have time to tell each other apart or communicate with each other, so they were directly fighting each other. Of course, what suddenly appeared was the Earth fleet. At this moment, a large group of Earth soldiers in the Earth fleet were rejoicing. Just after jumping out of space, they discovered that the Earth was still fine, although the enemy came to an extremely dangerous distance. But fortunately, the Earth has not been attacked yet. Thank you. Mom and Dad, please, and you will be fine. Honey, my husband is here. As long as I live, the enemy will not come in front of you and your daughter. Haha, great, sister, if you die, who will quarrel with me in the future? Bastards of the biochemical star territory, even if I die, I will not let you touch a hair of my sister. Within the Earth fleet, fighting spirit is boiling. But at this moment, the enemy had already taken the lead and launched an attack. The artillery fire in the sky was like extremely terrifying man-eating monsters, attacking fiercely in the direction of the Earth fleet. Fortunately, the back is not in Earth orbit. In the command ship, Jia Yan was startled, and then when he judged that the large ray of light was not pointing at the Earth, he quickly operated the entire fleet and entered subspace to avoid it. Buzz. In the entire starry sky, the huge fleet that appeared just now seemed to have never appeared before and disappeared in an instant. And the more than 1,000 enemy main gunfires were like bright rays of sunlight in the sky, streaking across the area where the Earth fleet was previously, and more than 100 of them even exploded on an uninhabited area of the moon. In an instant, the humans on Earth saw a scene that horrified them. The moon was like a sudden volcanic eruption. Countless rays of light bombarded it in an instant, and then the whole flaming mountain exploded, which could be seen on the Earth, and the light blocked all the sunlight. Ah! How could that be? Space battles are so scary. Are our children on the Earth fleet fighting against this kind of battleship? Oh my God! Everyone on Earth who had long known that this war was unfolding had almost lost the ability to speak. Only when I saw the terror of the enemy with my own eyes did I know what kind of opponent those people's soldiers were facing. Thanks to the few book friends who gave tips, thank you. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1093. The shock of the people on Earth is the kind of shock they feel when they learn about the dangers of the outside world for the first time. In fact, even the soldiers of the Earth fleet saw for the first time what it looked like when enemy shells hit the ground without any defense, and this made their hearts beat slightly. It's scary. Is the artillery fire we operate also as powerful as the other party's artillery fire? No, it should be much weaker, but it's definitely not bad. After seeing this scene, the Earth soldiers immediately reacted. They cannot let the other side get close to the Earth. If the other party is close to the Earth, any cannonball falling on the surface of the Earth will be a disaster. Knock them back, quickly, quickly. The Earth was already within the opponent's range, but the enemy was startled when they saw the Earth fleet rushing out of space. At this moment, they did not strategically attack the Earth, but bomb towards the Earth fleet. If the time drags on for too long, the other party will definitely attack the Earth. Although there is a defense system established with the help of the great empire on the Earth, God knows whether that system will be effective. Jia Yan also noticed this, and even knew it from the beginning, so the Earth's fleet appeared in a direction that was blocking the front of the Earth. Retreat. There was something strange in Jia Yan's eyes, and then some warships from the Earth fleet suddenly appeared on the flank of the opponent's fleet as he pointed out. In the enemy fleet on the other side, groups of biochemical starfield warriors quickly got into the habit of fighting after being shocked by the appearance of the Earth fleet. It's just that the enemies they are used to are nothing like the current Earth fleet. What? How did these 500 warships appear? The flank was attacked and 3 of our warships were damaged. No, the enemy is here and there. We concentrated our fire and fired a volley, but we didn't hit any targets. The commander-in-chief of these more than 1,200 battleships, and also the most powerful person in this battleship, is a half-star existence. In fact, there are at least 30 semi-star level beings dispatched to the Orion arm by this biochemical starfield force. Now there are 2 gathered in the solar system. It is not a very strange thing. This Jia Yan's method is indeed extraordinary. It is actually a subspace tactic. As a semi-stellar powerhouse, the enemy commander-in-chief was naturally not as ignorant as the soldiers below, but he was a little surprised when he saw that Jia Yan commanded the lagging Earth fleet and actually caught 1,000 of their battleships off guard. Jia Yan's space talent is really terrifying. If he hadn't had space talent, the level difference between the warships should not have been smoothed out by a small tactic. But do you think you can stop us with this tactic? You're too naive. The strong man looked solemn and then issued an order. A group of enemy fleets actually changed their formation, and then formed a circle, with every ship facing outward. In particular, the muzzle of their main gun is aimed at the outer starry sky, thus forming a defensive method with no blind spots. Aren't you here just to help defend the Earth? But in this situation, if you want to help defend the Earth, you must fight us head-on. The half-star existence looked at the surrounding space with a slight smile, waiting for the appearance of the Earth fleet that had just retreated into subspace. As expected, Jia Yan, who saw the scene in the subspace, frowned with an ugly expression. The commander of the other side clearly understands that we are here to help defend the Earth, and the quality of our own warships is far inferior to theirs. It would be okay if we don't go out to fight head-on. Once we go out and fight head-on, we won't be able to die at all. But if they don't go out, their route will be to the Earth. The Pi Quoi tactic is powerful, but if the enemy doesn't let go of the planet you have to defend, this tactic is useless. Well, originally I tried not to use the clone. Jia Yan shook his head, and then a frightening light appeared in his eyes. But now that I'm forced to fight, I have to give it a try. Suddenly, the entire Earth fleet appeared in the starry sky. Attack! They don't dare to dodge. The half-star being in the opponent's command ship gave the order. Following the issuance of this order, a group of battleships from the biochemical starfield forces suddenly fired their main guns at the Earth battleship. The main gun's firing was delayed, but if the Earth fleet did not dodge this wave, it would be doomed. Let's see how you defeat this round. In the enemy fleet, the half-star strong man looked at the starry sky in front of him calmly. And just when he was looking at the starry sky, expecting to see a wave of volleys of artillery fire that would directly destroy the entire Earth fleet, he suddenly felt a terrifying suction force in the subspace that came in an instant, directly appearing on the entire Earth fleet. Ahead. What? He was startled, and when the object that suddenly appeared came out of the subspace instantly, this half-star existence couldn't help but look sad. Man-made black hole? Who gave the Earth this thing? Could it be from those biochemical humans we made before? Alas, so I said, those defective species should not be trusted. The moment a thought flashed through the opponent's mind, a salvo of main artillery fire from the biochemical starfield forces had arrived in front of the Earth's fleet. In the Earth fleet, a group of Earth soldiers had already accepted their fate. They did not blame Jia Yan, because if they did not block it, the salvo of artillery fire would hit the Earth behind them, but they were unwilling to accept it, because the Earth fleet was destroyed like this. The Earth still cannot escape the disaster. But just as they were looking at the approaching enemy artillery fire that was about to hit their own ship group, in front of their sight, a seemingly small object, only a few dozen meters in diameter, appeared. This suddenly appeared object, in the shape of a sphere, suddenly came into the normal space. It was like an ignorant child, and it was spinning around. But its impact has already begun to appear. The Earth fleet as a whole felt a terrible attraction. A warship that was less than 10 kilometers away moved almost instantly and was attracted like crazy towards the place where the gravity was. The same goes for the other battleships. Some of the people on Earth were even in poor physical condition. Under this suction force, they were almost pressed against the wall of the battleship and lost their ability to move. The light of the enemy's attacking battleship's main gun was also distorted by this huge suction force. Originally, the main guns of the warships of all major civilizations, including the advanced warships in the outer space, would not be pure light. Although the light is fast, it is not easy to achieve the desired effect with its power. Therefore, do not look at the gunfire similar to the light. So fast, but they all have quality. It is difficult for objects with mass to escape the influence of light. The starry sky was completely distorted. After the light rays coming from it were distorted by the artificial black hole, most of them deviated from the original route, and even a small part was directly injected into the small black hole, causing the inside of the black hole to continuously tumble, almost with a trace of dispersion. Feel. After all, this is not a real black hole, or even a powerful version of the black hole made by Jia Yan. As long as his effect is effective, it is considered good to be able to achieve the current impact. Part of the artillery fire affected by the black hole still hit the Earth fleet. The light of the explosion appeared in the starry sky, and the Earth's fleet was reduced to a dozen battleships almost instantly. This is the first time that the Earth fleet has suffered such a horrific sacrifice since the war began. Jia Yan was in command of the battleship and could hardly bear to look at it. Although the Earth warships were replaced with advanced systems, or even directly used large Imperial warships, which greatly reduced the number of people operating, there were still at least 10 people inside every Earth warship. With hundreds or even nearly 1,000 soldiers, such an explosion would represent the casualties of tens of thousands of Earth's athletes. He couldn't bear to see it. But these casualties are better than the flames of war falling on the Earth. The entire ship listens to my order. Regardless of casualties, we must drive the opponent away from the distance that threatens the Earth. Jia Yan gave the order, and his eyes seemed to be red. Jia Yan couldn't bear to issue such an order, and he was also unwilling to do so. Although he was a strong man, he actually caused his hometown soldiers to be wiped out by the enemy. His self-blame for not being able to protect his hometown soldiers made him very angry. Next, the extremely brutal battle to defend the Earth, under the circumstances that almost everyone on Earth can see clearly through simple equipment, is expanded. Jia Yan's brainwave power was extremely active, and he controlled the Earth's fleet to enter subspace for a while, and helped some warships to withstand artillery fire. Another moment of control of the black hole to escape the rescue crisis. With the efforts of him and all the Earth soldiers, the invaders were surprised to find that they actually retreated bit by bit under the Earth people's desperate tactics and strange tactics. After consuming more than 230 battleships and going through more than 2 hours of fierce battles, the enemy finally retreated to the furthest distance from which they could attack the Earth, covered in blood. Ouch! At this moment, almost everyone on the Earth fleet cheered. They used their flesh and blood to build an iron-blooded defense line and defended the home planet of civilization in front of the people in their hometown. Along the way, more than 230 warships suffered casualties, which meant that hundreds of thousands of soldiers would sleep in the universe forever, but it was all worth it. The enemy also had 7 battleships, which were destroyed in the starry sky under the counter-attack of the Earth fleet. Earthlings, Earth fleet. Inside the enemy battleship, the half-star creature was almost silent. This was the first time since he entered the Orion arm that he had seen an enemy that resisted so fiercely and caused them great trouble. It's a pity, no matter how brave you are, what's the use? Ha, he smiled lightly. On the Earth fleet side, Jia Yan's eyes were still slightly red. He was talking about time. It took nearly 10 hours to travel through the starry sky before. Including the battle time, now it is less than 10 hours before the real body arrives. We will definitely be able to hold on, we will definitely be able to hold on. Just as Jia Yan finished speaking, suddenly, an Earth soldier in charge of intelligence stood up from his seat with a look of horror on his face. Grown-ups.